Hello everyone, today we're going to take a look at Kouros by YSL, and it's the reason because my older bottle of Kouros, this is not an old bottle, it's not a vintage by any means, this is just a bottle from 2017. It's almost empty, it's about like this is the level. I won't be able to show it to you on camera as usual because this is one of my favorite scents. I love Kouros quite a lot. I got myself a new bottle, which is a 2023. So what I want to do today is take a look at the scent of Kouros, but not in, great depths, because I think I've spoken about. In any case, you don't need a review of Kouros from me. There's tons out there. But let's briefly just see if there are any perceived differences between a 2017 bottle, what I have, and a more recent one. And then maybe compare it a bit, because I got some other fragrances here. And we're going to speak briefly about all of them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray them in advance because my older bottle of Kouros is a bit oxidated. Kouros doesn't keep very well. Well, in the atmosphere it smells fine, it smells perfect, but when you put your nose in there, the top notes are a bit oxidated. Let's see the newer one. And right off the bat, I think I'll be able to tell if there's something different just by, judging their openings. Oh, all right. The newer one feels a little more tonka. So Kouros, this came out in 1981. It was done by Pierre Bourdon, and I'm going to do something I've never done before. Memory Flow reacts to Fragrantica comments. All right, so I'm not going to shame anybody. That's not the goal. Fragrantica is a forum. It's very good that it's like this. People are telling you their opinions. This is exactly what I'm doing right now. So just because I happen to love Kouros doesn't mean that it's untouchable. Somebody says it smells exactly like Caron Yatagan without the incense note, which is interesting. I don't believe that's true, and we'll get into the reasons why I don't believe that's true in a minute. Although Caron Yatagan is an animalic type of scent, that's pretty musky as well, and it's also a chypre. What it does in the dry down, it becomes this herbal leather, while Kouros does something else, but we'll get into that in a minute. Pretty sure that Caron Yatagan is in the same vein as Kouros. So is Antaeus, by the way. And I've also smelled last year, I've smelled Elle by Artiste. I got a small decant from a friend, and that's pretty much, one-on-one with Kouros, which is very interesting. Another user says, trash, if you wear this, it's on site. I don't know what that means. This is very funny. My wife said, and these are the top three comments on Fragrantica, mind you. They're very recent. My wife said it smells like something an old Turkish man would wear. It's certainly musky and Hellenic, which means Greek, I suppose. I don't find it as challenging as people on here seem to say. I quite like it, but it's not for me. Not sure who is it for though. Well, I could tell you who is it for. It's for people not accustomed or not necessarily exposed to the perfumery of today. Kouros is something from another age. And although I've been born in the 1700s, I haven't started being into perfumery until the early 2000s. So this is where I was first exposed to probably the 2000s formulation of Kouros, and it was more pissy than Kouros is today. Let's try the 2017 one. Definitely, it was more pissy. This one is the current formulation, or the 2017 one is just lighter, soapier, definitely as more pleasant than the older formulation was. The older your Kouros is, the more challenging it is. And by challenging, I mean that it's more animalic. And animalics are definitely not for everybody, and especially not for today's people or noses. You know, it's something that's, they're not exposed to it and they're not used to wearing such a thing. I really don't understand why people hate this one, although it's definitely not a mass pleaser. Oh, you have no idea how much of a mass pleaser Kouros used to be. A clean and unique manly smell. Alright, keep that in mind, a manly smell that obviously stands the test of time. It does smell like urinal cake a bit, sure does, but not in a bad way. And the reason they put it into urinals is because it smells good. That's circular logic. I love that. You aren't man enough to wear this cologne unless you're also man enough to not give a shit who thinks you're man enough to do anything. Love this one. A soapy, a very slightly funky head shop. I like it. High-end soap mixed with smelly asshole. That's great. That's perfect. It's interesting. I'm not mature enough for the stuff, I think. Smells like herbs and feces to me. My girlfriend laughed when she smelled it. That sums it up. I love it. That's the best comment there is. And I suppose, and he or she also gives a rating. It's 1.2 out of 10. What I conclude from this, or with the purpose of me reacting to these comments, is basically to reinforce the idea that Kouros is definitely not for younger noses or noses who have been exposed to fragrances as they are made today and what's popular today. That's something we need to understand, and that's something we need to make our peace with, or make our piss with. So what's Kouros all about? So in my humble opinion, which I'm not going to suggest that I know anything about the formula of Kouros. I'm not familiar with the formula of Kouros. I wouldn't know where to begin in telling you about that. But in my humble opinion, Kouros revolves around musky animalics, especially civet, a dose of oak moss, which makes it a chypre, and it's very metallic and interesting in that regard. Vetiver, which gives it this grassy, herbal, sweetish, and coumarin, which makes it fougere, because there's always that debate between is Kouros a fougere, is Kouros a chypre? Well, in my opinion, the older the Kouros is, it's more veering towards chypre, and the younger, the newer the Kouros, it veers towards fougere. That's my opinion. Don't know if that's wrong or right. Another thing special about Kouros is this white floral heart, which is beautiful. And in Kouros's case, I think it's something resembling, so a mixture between jasmine, neroli or orange blossom, and at times Kouros can even give off the smell of citronellol. What's that? Lily of the valley. I had trouble remembering that. So those are, in my opinion, I believe, the elements that are mostly what Kouros is all about. And I'm just now realizing that there's also a fragrance I needed to have brought up for discussion, but I'll, forget about that. I'm going to mention it though, because there's enough already. Let's get to why I love Kouros. I love Kouros because it's so versatile. Kouros is something you can wear, all season. It's got this huge signature scent potential. And when I say signature scent, I mean, or I imagine, is having just one fragrance, for all occasions, because it's very, very elegant. It's very clean at times. It can be very dirty at times when you need it to be, because as I said, it's very musky, and this is what musks do sometimes. They're both clean and they combine very, very well with your own body's scent, with the scent of your own body, and it enhances it. It gives it a lot of potential, very sexy. I've worn Kouros in winter, I've worn Kouros in the heat. It's perfect in any occasion. Also, Kouros is very, very long lasting. It's very projecting. It pleases those type of people who want something that's loud. But also I find that Kouros is, you know, it's perfectly balanced. Kouros never, well, in my opinion anyway, never bothers the people around you. I've been around people wearing Kouros and I've never been bothered by it. It just smells like an aromatic fougere barbershop-y thing, which can be quite soothing. You know, it's herbal, it's plants. You have to be wary of how much you apply, though. You know, any fragrance that you apply more than it's required to, you know, can be upsetting to people around you. But what I find, especially, or lately, because I've been wearing Kouros for about a week non-stop, I've been loving it. What I especially like right now about Kouros is its dry down, and the dry down of Kouros is this skanky, honey, floral, musky scent, right? I don't know how to describe it better than that. And in order to prove my point, or to make myself understood, I want to talk about 3 other scents. And just as always, I want to give you a reminder that the scents I'm going to mention are not identical. They're not supposed to be identical to Kouros, but they do share some similarities, some familiar beats. So my point is, in mentioning these 3 following scents, is if you love Kouros, maybe give these 3 a chance, because there might be some things you'll love about them. So Salome is something I discovered maybe 2 years ago, and I'm not going to get into Salome. I have a full review of Salome on my channel. Let's just get reacquainted to Salome. Oh yes, from the start, it's reminding me, it's giving off these Kouros vibes, because this is, first of all, it's a chypre. It's very aldehydic and very oak mossy. And also, it's very earthy, dusty, and very musky. It's got that sweet, pissy honey smell that you get in Kouros's dry down, which is, as I said, this is what I love about Kouros right now. It's got ambery undertones. Well, Salome is a jumble of things. Salome has everything but the kitchen sink. This is what I love about Salome. There's stuff that reminds me of Mitsuko in here. There's things that remind me of, God, so many fragrances. It's Abanita by Molinard in here as well. Another musky scent that could have been mentioned here as well. It's also leathery, just like Kouros. And it's got this, the florals in here in Salome are much more pronounced than in Kouros. It's white florals, but also violets. And it's funny because this makes it more powdery than other fragrances. But it's funny that while wearing Kouros the past week, there have been moments, especially in the cold, it's very cold outside right now, where you can tell that Kouros has quite a heavy dose of iris, or I should say orris, which makes it papery, dusty, and Kouros can also be powdery at times, which is very, very interesting. Kouros, I think, is one of the most complex creations ever. Now, I've mentioned Salome. Salome is something you should definitely give a try to Salome, because I don't know what the general opinion of people is about Liz Moores and her brand. I myself, while having smelled Salome, I think she's a terrific perfumer. I don't know, the references for Salome are just amazing. And Salome, while being this crazy, screaming, dancing, almost Dionysus, Bacchus inducing, I don't know, I'm rambling, imagery of a scent, it is, at the end of the day, very nice and very wearable. So yeah, you should definitely give that a try. Now, the next fragrance I want to talk about is one of my most favorite scents from the house of Amouage, and it is, of course, gold. This is Gold Man. I don't have Gold Woman, which they're quite similar, but not quite. This is something I've spoken about many times. Trying to remember, because I'm blanking right now who made this. I'm blanking like an idiot. And I shouldn't have, because it's the same person who made... it's Guy Robert. It's the same person who made Calèche d'Hermès. And this is why I bring this up. And I told you to remind yourself about that comment about Kouros being manly by default, which is silly. Because although this is Gold Man, this is very similar to Hermès's Calèche, which is marketed towards women. Which doesn't mean anything. Fragrance has no gender, so it doesn't matter. But you know, just keep that in mind. Kouros is always mentioned when it comes to these hyper-masculine type of scents, which is, again, silly. There's nothing inherently masculine about Kouros, or Gold Man, or Salome, or Calèche. This is very aldehydic. It smells just like nail polish. At some time, this will start becoming very polished and reflective and metallic, because this is also very oak moss heavy. And at some point it's going to give off this beautiful church incense type of smell, which in my opinion, Gold Man from Amouage is the best incense scent that they have. I'm serious about that. You have to really wear and get very acquainted to Gold Man to really appreciate the incense that they use there. It's also very powdery, because it also has a hefty dose of orris, I suppose. I'll have to look on the notes for this as well, because I don't remember the notes by heart. I do know that the floral heart of this is just like in Calèche, is Lily of the Valley, which is so beautiful. Imagine this metallic, polished Lily of the Valley trapped in this church incensey amber. And in its dry down, all of them, in their dry down, give off that musky, honey, pissy, body odor type of smell, which I find very sexy and very appropriate. So the notes are Lily of the Valley, incense, jasmine, orris, myrrh, civet musk, oak moss, amber, sandalwood. So it's like reading the notes of Kouros, because they are indeed related, I suppose, in some way. Now, the other fragrance I wanted to mention, I'm going to mention, but I don't have with me, is Bandit by Robert Piguet. I wanted to mention Bandit because it's a leather chypre, which is musky and heavily animalic and very bold, and it does remind myself of the architecture of Kouros at times. That one is much more based in patchouli, I think. It's a gorgeous scent. You do have to try Bandit by Robert Piguet as well. And that one is, of course, a lot older than Kouros, so I suppose Kouros might be drawing some influences from Bandit de Robert Piguet. I don't know. Is this the final one? Yes, the final one is, you know, I'm squeezing in a Serge Lutens always. And this is the reason why it came to me that I should do a comparison as well. This is Fils de Joie by Serge Lutens. And I have to craft myself the bottle because I think I took it with me while traveling. Because I can't get enough of this. This is... God, this is one of the most complex scents and the most intriguing scents I've smelled in a few years. Now, Fils de Joie is aldehydic, is honeyed, definitely. It's not oak mossy. So this is where things stand quite differently from Kouros. When you're going to smell Fils de Joie for the first time, you're going to call me crazy and probably say to yourself that this has absolutely nothing to do with Kouros, and you'd be right. This is honey night blooming jasmine, right? It's very floral, but already we can see some similarities. You know, that white floral heart should tell us something about Kouros. And it's musky and quite clean. It's soapy. As I said, it's aldehydic, has that upwards trend. While reviewing this and comparing it to La Fille de Berlin, I also discovered this night blooming jasmine can veer quite close to the smell of Lily of the Valley, which is very, very interesting. Remember, this smells like Lily of the Valley, and Kouros smells like Lily of the Valley as well. But not to prolong things any longer, it's the dry down, right? The dry down for this, especially, well, only on the skin. I don't know if you're going to smell this on a blotter. On the skin, this turns into the same type of dry down we have all around in Kouros, in Gold Man, in Salome. It's that musky, honeyed body odor, rancid, sexy, challenging. Oh, Francesca Bianchi's Under My Skin also has that, so I need that in my life. I haven't been able to find one, but I'm going to get it at some point. So many options. It is gorgeous, and you can tell where things are going. This is a very cheeky type of scent. I'm not going to waste your time. You're going to have to smell these on your own. But now let's compare current Kouros. Let's see how this is. Well, it does smell different, especially when you smell them after Fils de Joie. It's cleaner. I get a lot more coumarin, or I should say tonka bean from this. This is more, it's got a bit of a crunchier, sweeter vibe to it. I don't know if this is as pissy as my older one. And also, mind you, this is just being opened, this bottle. So it's a new bottle, so it's not, you know, aged. I don't know if I could call my Kouros aged. As I said, it's oxidated, but that's not a good thing. So, well, it's definitely still Kouros. The new one is dustier. It's still got that oak mossy sheeper vibe. So it's still Kouros. You can definitely tell it's Kouros. Let's see, do they stain the blotter the same way? Yeah, it's the same type of stain. So I wouldn't worry too much. It's silly, you know, comparing these. I don't know how many times Kouros has been reformulated, but comparing a 2017 bottle with a 2023, it doesn't. It serves no purpose, right? It's fine. Kouros is fine. My main concern is, because the older one is projecting like crazy. This one, have to kind of get kind of close to the... Is it as powerful? I have no idea. Maybe it's watered down a bit. I have no idea. Not to tell you. I'll have to check. I have to wear it and see if it's as projecting. Because this one, this 2017 one, is projecting like crazy. But it definitely smells what it's supposed to smell like. The bottles look the same. There aren't any differences I could, you know. It's already the same type of bottle, the new one, so... Such a beautiful bottle, by the way. Kouros has one of the most beautiful bottles and namings. It's supposed to be this Kouros. I don't know the correct form. It's supposed to be this beautiful young man. Let's search for this. Oh God, I'm embarrassing myself. Kouros. Greek. What's a Kouros? Okay, so a Kouros, I'm reading from Wikipedia. The plural is kouroi, and the singular is kouros, is a modern term given to freestanding ancient Greek sculptures depicting nude male youth. So it's supposed to be a beautiful young male, right? Beautiful young man, that's what Kouros is supposed to be, but a statue of this. The actual word means youth, boy, especially of noble rank, so you know, that's the idea behind the name. They do smell the same. I decided it's the exact same scent, but I will have to wear them and see where this is going. So I hope you enjoyed my ramblings, my unscripted ramblings on Kouros and the guest appearances. I'll leave it at that, and if you have any other questions, do let me know in the comments, and until next time, remember, fragrance creates memories, and may yours be happy.